I'm interrupting this video with a brief mid-roll promotion. I wanted to talk to you guys about readings. I'm currently doing natal chart readings and interpretations. So if you would like a personalized video reading that is private and only sent to you, covering your personality, your talents, as well as your financial astrology, and then your destiny or your soul's purpose, which would be based on the North Node placement and the rulers of that, then check the email in my description, which is readings@astroseri.com, and go ahead and send me an email if you would be interested in booking a reading. I also offer aspect table readings, meaning all of the aspects that are in your chart and what they mean. And finally, I offer synastry readings, which is about love and compatibility. For the most part, everybody that I have done a reading has been amazed with the results and has greatly benefited, at least half of whom have left a donation after the reading to show their appreciation, or have purchased a second reading for somebody else or for additional questions that they had. Now, my readings go in depth, so it is not for the faint of heart. So if you do not want to know how you really are based on your chart, then the readings are not for you. If you would like an interpretation of your chart by me, then definitely feel free to send an email. Let me know which type of reading that you're interested in, and we will work things out from there. With that being said, let's get back into the topic of this video. Thank you. Mars in Capricorn. This is the exaltation sign of Mars. What does Mars represent? Mars represents action and willpower. It represents the physical body. It represents how we pursue the things that we desire. The sign Capricorn is the sign of success and status. So those that have Mars in Capricorn will generally be disciplined and relentless towards their goals, and they have this energy of success. So they will succeed at whatever they put their mind to. And so those that have Mars in Capricorn have this ability to create tangible results. And whatever it is that they put their mind to, generally they will be able to create impressive outcomes. And also, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is all about time and it's all about hard work. So Mars in this sign gives somebody a lot of stamina, and it gives somebody high working capacity. They will generally be able to work longer hours than their counterparts or their colleagues. They will also be able to stay more consistent, and everything of that nature that represents discipline is things that make them stand out. You know, those are qualities that make their work stand out, or it could be their ability to work for a long time that makes them stand out. Also, they will usually have a plan or some sort of idea that they build off of, because Mars and Capricorn always likes to start with a plan, and they generally do best when there is a plan, as opposed to situations where things are not planned out. And this is because Mars rules Scorpio, and when it is in Capricorn, that makes it in the third sign, using whole signs from Scorpio. And the third house is all about strategy. It's all about writing things. It's all about communication and words. The magic of Mars and Capricorn is that when they have a written plan, they become enormously successful. So that is the tip that I have for this placement, is whatever it is that they need to do or accomplish, is that they need to have a written plan, because this will activate the relentless energy of Mars and Capricorn that will also bring them enormous results. So as well, Capricorn is about ambitions. People that have Mars in Capricorn, they have large ambitions. That's also why Mars is exalted here. And they are motivated towards accolades and recognition, because Capricorn represents status, and Mars is what motivates us. And often those that have Mars in Capricorn will do things in the intention that it will matter a lot. So they always like to apply their energy towards doing something of importance or something that is constructive. Capricorn is an earth sign, and earth signs represent matter and things that are physical and tangible. And it's a cardinal sign, which is about a sense of direction or focus. So those with Mars in Capricorn are climbers of success. They climb the ladders through sheer hard work and dedication, because that's what Mars represents. And in general, they will reach positions of management, authority, or importance that came from their work, their hard work. Mars also represents competition. So at some point, Mars and Capricorn people will compete with an authority or with the father figure at some point, or they will have conflict with that individual, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is one of the planets that represents relationship to the father, and it represents the influence of authority in our lives. And generally speaking, since Capricorn shows success, Mars in this sign shows that the way that you succeed is by actually doing things where you are getting involved and getting your hands dirty, where you're actually like putting in hard work and long hours. That's actually how you succeed. Your success is not going to come as like a hand-me-down or as like a little unexpected gift or a random stroke of luck. It's like actually in your hands, and it's up to you, and it's just coming from what you actually do that is involving getting your hands dirty, like actually putting work in towards a goal, or working long hours for a company or something like that. And what's interesting is that unlike the average person that might not have this placement, your hard work seems to constantly progress you professionally or in terms of your status or your success. How I would summarize this, or the point to get out of this, is that in order to succeed, it's all about just putting your head down and getting to work, putting your eyes on the prize, and just kind of zoning in and letting the hours pass, and staying focused, and just focusing on the little tasks ahead of you and just working, especially when you have a plan, is enough to get you to a very high status when you have this placement. Next, here are a few celebrities that have this placement before we talk about what it means through each of the houses. Steven Spielberg, Aaliyah, Jeff Bezos, Gwen Stefani, Lindsay Lohan, The Weeknd, Jim Carrey, Timothy Chalamet, Julia Roberts, Nicki Minaj, V, the entertainer from South Korea, Megan Fox, Katy Perry, Albert Einstein, Lady Gaga, Brad Pitt, and a whole lot more that I have not included in this list. So when you have Mars in Capricorn in the first house, which is where we're going to start, this represents your identity. And amongst other people, this placement shows that your identity to them is that of a high achiever, because that is word or the phrase that summarizes Mars in Capricorn, is a high achiever. And so since this placement is in your first house, this becomes your whole personality, or like your whole identity, or a prominent part of it, because perhaps you might have other planets in your first house that have different influences too. But one thing that is for certain, or that is a true statement about you, is that you're a high achiever, and one that has achieved something great through hard work. And you're also a force of competition or of respect towards other people, because Mars is about force. And so when it is in the sign of respect and status, it means that people respect your capabilities. Since the first house represents identity and self-concept, the concept of capability becomes a big part of your sense of self. So this is how you project yourself into the world, or how you strive to find yourself, is by pushing the limits of your capabilities. And generally, how you want to be seen is as somebody that is capable and respected, because the first house is about our identity and is what makes us feel real. Is what makes us feel like an individual or ourselves. It's how we set ourselves apart. It's like who we are. So for you, it's all about capability and respect in some way. Second house, Mars in Capricorn, shows individuals that make really big moves in life, because the second house shows how we use our resources. The second house influence on Mars shows that the individual will always partake in some sort of substantial, ambitious endeavor, where either a lot of resources go into the endeavor, there is a hope for greater gain, or where they might receive a lot of resources as a result of their hard work and not put, necessarily any resources into it other than their discipline and commitment. But generally speaking, those that have this placement have substantial goals, because the second house rules goals. It rules our values. It is the house that comes after the first house, which is about action. So the second house really represents what our actions are directed towards, or what matters to us. And this placement of Mars shows somebody who strives towards large material goals. Third house, Mars in Capricorn, shows a combination of wit and ambition, because the third house rules the mind and it rules cleverness. And generally speaking, these people are usually inventive but unusually ambitious at the same time. So this placement of Mars is the person that will have a great idea and then subsequently push it all the way to its limit in hopes of a great reward. So these are the types of people whose success looks like they outsmarted the whole system, or like they came up with a genius idea and they got rich quick off of it. But it's because the dedication often goes unnoticed behind what they achieved, and people will only tend to notice how smart your ideas were. But in general, this placement of Mars, like I was saying, is showing somebody that has a combination of cleverness and ambitiousness about their schemes. Like they have great little schemes or plans or ideas, and they dream big at the same time. Others are only left seeing the genius of their ideas rather than the hard work that went behind it. However, the Mars in Capricorn shows that there was a lot of hard work that goes towards their plans or their strategies or their ideas. Fourth house, Mars in Capricorn, shows an individual with strong priorities, and they are very self-directed as well, because Capricorn is about responsibility and the fourth house is about things that matter to us, because the fourth house represents emotions and it represents our security, and it represents our home life and stuff like that. So it's things that we defend, things that we protect, things that we also hold dear to ourselves. So anyway, Mars in this placement shows that when something matters to you, you will dedicate yourself fiercely and laboriously towards that endeavor. And also this placement of Mars makes excellent providers in the family unit. And they're also great homemakers and protectors. Generally speaking, building safety and protection around their priorities becomes a main motivator for these people. And they're also largely ambitious. Fifth house, Mars in Capricorn, shows a desire for validation and recognition that pushes you to great heights, or that might take the form of success in some way. So this is because the fifth house represents spotlight and attention, and Capricorn represents successes, and Mars makes you quite driven. So a lot of times you fulfill this need for validation through succeeding more than anybody else, or through working harder than anybody else. This placement of an exalted Mars will also make you quite competitive and ambitious. Often you will seek accolades, milestones, and titles that accurately reflect your capabilities. Sixth house Mars in Capricorn shows that you are disciplined, consistent, and meticulous, and you build success mostly through habits. Those that have this placement work hard and start often with humble beginnings and with a humble mindset, because the sixth house is all about service and it's all about routine and work. But through their sheer consistency and contribution, these people will achieve public promotion and recognition at some point. It's like these people work so hard and so consistently that it actually leads them to positions of higher status, and also moments of public appreciation or recognition, and even sometimes fame, because Capricorn is the sign that can represent fame. So your hard work is one of the most likely factors that will contribute to fame, and ironically it's your humble mindset and your discipline and routine and consistent approach. Those that have Mars and Capricorn in the seventh house are people that are driven by responsibilities, and it makes them quite hardworking, because the seventh house is about our commitments to other people, especially when Capricorn is the sign in question, because that's the sign of responsibilities. So those that have Mars in this placement are really motivated to stay true to their commitments and their promises, and this will make them endlessly hardworking and like endlessly disciplined. So these people are the types of people that will sacrifice themselves for others, or they'll like sacrifice their time towards working really hard in order to maintain an image or maintain trust and a good reputation. So also, the seventh house represents others, and it represents the outside world, and Capricorn represents accountability and maturity. So it's really your accountability towards others that becomes the source of your hardworking nature. So you are most productive when you have an accountability partner, or when you have deadlines and stuff like that. as well. 8th house, Mars in Capricorn, shows individuals that want to conquer the world, and their dedication leads towards some sort of transformational success, perhaps even regarding their physique or their physical body, because Mars represents one's physique, and it is one of the planets of attractiveness. Venus is about attraction, but Mars is also a quality of ourselves that can make us attractive. And generally speaking, the 8th house is about transformation. So this placement and these people are the ones that are capable of making a night and day transformation in their body, but also in their outside world and their success. They're able to go from rags to riches. In fact, they are most productive and most ambitious when they come from a place of struggle, or when they come from a low place, a low emotion. So when they are at their lowest, this is when they gain their most drive. And that's the effect of having Mars in 8th house, which is the house of Scorpio. It makes somebody relentless and very motivated, and they will not fail. 9th house Mars in Capricorn will show that you have a competitive educational environment, and you could be part of some sort of competitive institution or school. And as you climb in life, your knowledge climbs along with you, and so does your abundance. Because some people may not have a formal education or get a formal education that have displacement, but the common denominator is that knowledge actually increases their success, and success is correlated to their level of knowledge as well. So as they climb the ranks, they start to learn more and more exclusive knowledge that contributes to their abundance and the success of their endeavors. Also, since the 9th house represents morals and philosophy, these individuals will be morally and philosophically ambitious, and they will fight to achieve some sort of spiritual, educational, or philosophical ideal. That's really what motivates you a lot in general. So how can I make this more relatable? Well, for one, essentially you could have a idea of what is right and what is wrong. And once you have pinpointed that idea, and once you're convinced about that, you are extremely motivated to fulfill those requirements, or like you're extremely motivated to live by that philosophy. And for some people, it might not be a philosophy. It could be an educational path. So once they know the title that they want to achieve, they become extremely motivated to get there. And then finally, for some people, it might not be philosophical or educational. It could be more of a spiritual conviction. So once they know the right spiritual principles that they believe in, these are the most motivated people and ambitious people to achieve those ideals. Last but not least, we have the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th houses. So let's start with the 10th house. 10th house Mars in Capricorn is all about hard work. Sometimes it's about manual labor as well, because the 10th house is an earth house, and the sign Capricorn is a earth sign. And so construction work or hard work or manual labor can become a part of your image or of your profession, because the 10th house rules our profession. And so when you have Mars here, it shows that some sort of physical activity becomes part of your position or your title, or the things that you tell people when they ask you what you do for a living. And so generally some sort of physically demanding work becomes one of your ambitions, or part of you achieving your ambitions as well. 11th house Mars in Capricorn shows somebody that is technically gifted, and they are also intelligent, and there's also an element of ambition. So these people succeed in clever or inventive ways, and they are ambitious about the future. They like to do things differently than how they've been done before, and they like to do things better than how they were done before. And a lot of times they will save time by using clever systems, or by utilizing others as a resource towards their goals, and using their network as a resource. But for the most part, they will be the hardest working person within their group or within their network. And the 11th house is all about new lanes, new avenues. So those that have Mars and Capricorn in the 11th house will push towards success in a way that nobody else has thought of yet. And again, the 11th house is also about groups and associations. So those that have displacement can be leaders within a group context. And usually how they lead is not through their words or their voice, but through their sheer hard work. Because sometimes, as the saying goes, actions speak louder than words. And Capricorn shows this influence of leadership or of authority that you have. And it's like sometimes your sheer hard work gives you a lot of respect or authority amongst a group when you have displacement. Last but not least, we have the 12th house placement of Mars in Capricorn. And the 12th house is about dreams. So when you have Mars in this house and in its sign of exaltation, this makes you very hard working towards your dreams. And this placement is all about constructing one's dreams. And generally speaking, there is an element of manual labor, or like having to get your hands dirty, like having to physically involve yourself towards taking each of the steps to build that dream. It's not like the dream easily and effortlessly just comes to you in a random stroke of luck. It's like you have this goal or this vision, and you are the forefront of it, or like the person that puts it into work or into action. And Mars in Capricorn shows that you have enormous ambition towards that. And as a result of your hard work, you may also manifest help from others, or start from a humble beginning and turn your beginnings into, a success story, or a vision or a mission that other people also start to believe in. Because again, like I was saying, Mars in Capricorn will make you climb the ranks or climb the hierarchy of an industry or of like a business. And you might actually start from just being by yourself to, being a boss or like a CEO or a director of other people. But usually that only comes from you having had put so much effort towards the goal by yourself first. And then only when the results start to come in a little bit more do other people join in. So anyways, that is Mars and Capricorn through each of the houses. That's all I have for you guys today. I'll talk to you guys sometime soon in another